Hello out there, great lands or lands. Welcome to an all new video. In this video, we're doing a best of 2024 review here. I'm going to tell you my favorites of the year, and we're going to get right into that. So, right before we do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss this video and any other videos I put up. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here on YouTube, definitely check them out on the social media platforms such as X, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Patreon. Pretty much I post on those regularly, so definitely check them out. As always, people, let's get right into this. So welcome one and all to an all new video. So like I was saying before, we're going to be doing a best of 2024 video here, and I'm going to tell you the top of my list for 2024. Now, going into 2024, there were some good films in 2023 and 2022 and 2021 and so forth, but 2024 was a really huge year for really fantastic films that I absolutely loved and entertained by, and just thought it was a really fantastic year for sequels, for movies of all sorts, and just a really great year for film in general. I really felt like I was going back in time to when movies really were great films again. And 2024 really proved that, Hollywood really can bring films back and can give us some good stuff, and that we felt like we got a whole bunch of good stuff. And even though with the writer's strike, we still got a lot of great films last year that were just really fantastically done. And this list was very hard to get down to a certain amount because there were just so many films I absolutely loved last year. And, like I said, it was just really hard to, because everything in the film industry last year had a little thing that was really great about each film, from either the cinematography to the visual effects to the music to the editing to the directing style to the storyline. There was so many great little things in each of these different films and in all the films over last year that were just so freaking awesome and felt like classic Hollywood. So, like I said, this was really hard to break this down to a few, and so I decided I'm going to be doing my top 5 favorites of 2024, just because I think these top 5, or these 5 films, were, to me, my most favorite of last year. So to start us off at the 5th spot on the list, the 5th spot, is a film that came out at the beginning of last year called Boy Kills World. Yeah! Boy Kills World. Yeah! Boy Kills World was a really fantastic film. I thought it was so well directed, so well edited, so great concept, great story, great music, great everything about the film just really was very entertaining and so much fun. And, Bill Skarsgård is such a great actor. I absolutely love him, and I think that this was just a really fantastic role, especially the fact that through the whole entire film, he is playing a mute character, which was really awesome. But then we had the awesome voiceover in his head of Bob from Bob's Burgers doing the voice, which I thought was hilarious, John H. Benjamin. And I thought that was so freaking awesome. And then the rest of the cast of the film was really great. You had Famke Janssen in it. You had the gal that played Tree in the Happy Death Day films, who was fantastic in this as well. And you just had this really great ensemble cast that really kicked butt in this. Pretty much, it was very much a A24 type of, produced type of film. It was very, international, but very, not big studio type of deal. But it was just so creative. The action in it was fantastic. The story, everything about this film just made it so entertaining and so fun. And I think that it blew a lot of some films out of the water last year that just were not as, I thought that were considered so big and popular by a lot of reviewers, but this film, I feel, just blew all those out of the water, giving us a really solid, fun film that just was super entertaining. And like I said, the action sequences were so well choreographed, so well executed by everyone, and Bill Skarsgård just looks so cool. He looks so buff and awesome, and he just really played the character to the T. And I like the whole idea that it was very kind of almost one player minded the film, because it was very video game oriented. And I liked that too about it. And I thought that worked really well for the film. That gave it that really great kind of engrossing feeling that you're like, I want to know what happens. Like, how did he become mute? What happened that caused him to become mute? And this kind of stuff. And it just was a really great, orchestration and directing by the director that just really brought it together and gave us this really solid foundation of a film. If you haven't seen Boy Kills World, definitely check it out. And it is just a phenomenal film that I think deserves to be one of the best of last year. If you haven't seen it, like I said, check it out. And that's why this one's at my number 5 spot on my list. So coming in at the 4th spot on my list, the 4th spot, is a film that was totally panned by critics. Absolutely thought it was horrible. They thought it was the worst film. They considered it very much like Madam Web and stuff like that. And, Sony got a lot of hate for this film. But in my opinion, this film was freaking amazing and made it one of my top films of the year. It just was action-packed, great story, great acting, great, CGI work. And I just thought it was a really fantastically done film. And then, of course, a film called Kraven the Hunter. Yeah! Kraven the Hunter. Yeah! This was a phenomenal film no matter what everybody else says. This film, hands down, for all the production delays, all the reshoots and everything, was a really great, solid film. Now, was this comic book accurate? No. But at the same time, it gave us what we were looking for, a live-action adaptation of Kraven the Hunter. I absolutely loved how the rhino looked in this film. I thought it was a great concept, even though it was not the giant suit like that the real rhino, usually wears in the comic books. But still, I thought it was a great concept that looked actually like a rhinoceros, half man, half kind of rhino character. And I thought that was done well by Alessandro Nivola. I thought he was fantastic as the character. And Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven was perfect, amazing casting. He was awesome as Kraven, and I absolutely loved it. He looked the part, he looked awesome, he kicked butt throughout the whole film, and this was just a really great hard R type of action Marvel type of film, or superhero film, or anti-villain film, or villain film that you're looking for. And Russell Crowe as his father was fantastic. Of course, we had the appearance of the Chameleon, who I thought that character could have been a lot better, a better actor and so forth. But overall, the film itself was just so amazing. The visual effects were fantastic. The nod to the spiders, like for the Spider-Man universe, was awesome. And everything about this film just, I thought, was a really well-created film that just really blew it out of the water for me. And just made it so awesome and entertaining. And it didn't feel like so kind of, one way. It felt actually like entertaining for all. And I thought it just was so well constructed. And I thought the sets were amazing. And I thought that even though this was, footage from 2-3 years ago, the footage itself still looks really pristine and really good. And Aaron just really brought Kraven to life along with all the other characters in the film. And I enjoyed that it was kind of almost like a Godfather-esque type of level type of deal. Like, I like that. I like there was like that kind of like, gangster kind of feel to it, along with, it being supposedly a villain film. And I thought that was really great writing and really great, directing by the director. And I just thought that it was a really well-constructed film that was just so much better than other films I've seen last year that just were so much on point and just so far superior to what everyone has been making it out to be. Really great film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend checking it out in theaters now or on demand now that they have it. It was just a really fantastic film that I absolutely enjoyed, and it makes my top 5 of 2024. Alright, so coming in at the 3rd spot on my top 5 of 2024 is a film that all the critics are absolutely loving. They think it's a fantastic, amazing remake, and everyone is up in arms about how amazing this film is. And I definitely have to highly agree that this was one of the ones that the critics agreed with, and that I agree with, that was really fantastic, and it makes my top list. And that, of course, is the remake of the great film called Nosferatu. Yeah! Nosferatu. Yeah! Oh my god, this movie was absolutely amazing. This is my all-time favorite Robert Eggers film. I think this is the best one he's directed and put together. And I was just blown away with how amazing it was done. And I loved how he kept to the original script so well all over together in this film. I love that there was a lot of the great same gestures and scenes that were, pretty much quid pro quo throughout the entire film from the original 1922 classic. And I love what he brought to it. I like that he kept it pretty simplistic and kept it to the kind of same narrative as the original film, along with, of course, the added more gore and more R-rated factor. But also at the same time, I thought it was interesting that it decided to bring in some more sexuality to the film versus what the original did, and which I think that gave it some interesting takes as well. But overall, I love that he kept pure to that original 1922 film so well. And the amazing ability of Bill Skarsgård as his character of Nosferatu is amazing, Count Orlok, because I did not recognize him at all. The special effects that they did in that film were absolutely amazing. The full prosthetics were on point, phenomenal. I could not believe that was Bill Skarsgård the first time I saw him. I couldn't believe it. And the voice was so freaking awesome too as Count Orlok. And everything about the film, I absolutely just loved it. And I loved what they did with it and kind of how they, created it and how they, took it to a whole new level. And the performances by Aaron Taylor Johnson and Nicholas Hoult were so phenomenal. And I'm not a huge Lily Rose Depp acting fan. I think she's an okay actress. She's very cute. She's very beautiful. She's a very attractive woman. But acting wise, I don't think she's her father's level at all. And I never, when actors have kids that become actors and actresses and so forth, I never compare it to their parents because they're not going to act at the same level as their parents because they're just not that great unless they actually prove me that they can. And she definitely never, I felt, would be the same kind of great level as Johnny is. But at the same time, she has this kind of innate feeling to her that just makes you love her and like her. And that's what she brought to the film, I thought. She really gave a great essence and giving you kind of that. You felt kind of bad for her, but at the same time, you're like, you're such a stupid idiot at the same time. And you felt bad for Nicholas Holt's character. You felt bad for Aaron Taylor Johnson. And both of them played the characters to the absolute T. And the writing of this film was so well done. And the music and the look and everything. We had William Dafoe in it, who was really fantastic. I mean, this whole film was so well done and definitely deserves all the Oscar and award noms that it gets in the upcoming year here. It just is such a great freaking film and so well done. And I just think it's going to be one of those great films that goes down many years later to become a huge classic, just like the 1922 film. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend check it out. In theaters now. It is so phenomenal. Just got put on digital release too as well. It is so good. And just with how amazing and how talented everyone was in it and just how well it felt. And I walked out of it going, oh my God, that was such a fantastic film. It ends up on my top of 2024. So that brings me to my second favorite film of 2024, and that is another sequel type of film that was just really well done, that completely blew me out of the water. It just was so well constructed, so well put together, and these films just get better and better with each one. And this film was just so freaking phenomenal. I've seen it twice in theaters now. It is just so great. And then, of course, is the film called Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Oh my God, this film is so great. I was so blown away by this film. I loved the first two films, but this one was even more phenomenal. I felt like Jim Carrey was playing Jim Carrey again in this film, playing dual roles that were so fantastically written and performed by him. You have the great, ensemble voice cast of Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves playing Shadow. You had, the great, awesome, amazing, freaking Ben Schwartz portraying Sonic again. You had so many greats in this film, James Marsden and so forth, and so like that just were all such great additions to this film. And this film was just so freaking hilarious and so well constructed. And the writing was on point. You know, Jeff Fowler, as a director, just knows exactly how to bring a great video game to life. And he has done that 3 times over. And I just love that he's doing that with this franchise and has made such great films. And just everything about this film, you know, from, you know, Sonic's first interpretation when they first showed the first trailer for Sonic 1, you know, having to rebuild Sonic, he looks so amazing in these 3 films. And the CGI is just getting better and better and looks so amazing and so well done. And it just, Sonic, you know, and Tails and Knuckles and Shadow all look so amazing. And like you're literally watching them come off the screen from the video game is how well they were edited and made with computer technology that just looks so awesome. And the great thing about these films is that they're always so great because they're, you know, good guy wins, bad guy loses. And I love that they keep it that simple and that, you know, fun. And they give you lots of great comedy and lots of great action and everything in between that just makes it so entertaining and so enjoyable. And that's what makes this film so great from last year and why I think it's a top film of last year. Because it blows everything else out of the water. Because between the comedy elements, the music, and then the performances by everyone, all of that alone should make it a top film of 2024. Because it's so well done and it felt like a classic movie. And I just absolutely love that these Sonic films are just so on point and really give great glory to Sonic the Hedgehog. Because what person that didn't grow up in the 90s doesn't love Sonic? Sonic is so amazing and such a great video game. The movies should reflect how great the game was, and that's what they do. And that's what Sonic 3 did. It gave great honor to all those great artists over in Japan that created this amazing game. And all these great people that created this amazing film. And the great acting talent and the great voice talent and all that stuff all made such a really encompassing great film. Hence why it's on my list of the top of 2024. If you haven't seen Sonic 3, though, go check it out. It's phenomenal. It's so well done. It feels like a great classic film. Just pure on point. Phenomenal film. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Hence why it's my number 2 on my list of the best of 2024. So that brings me to my number 1 of 2024. Now, my number 1 in 2024 is, I think, the top grossing film of the year. Is a fantastic film that checks every single box you're looking for in a film of this caliber. Not only is this a sequel that brought to life these characters again and reinvented them, it also brought Marvel back from its slump. And that, of course, is the film Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah! Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah! At my number 1 spot. This film is the best of 2024. From its great writing by Reynolds, by Sean Levy, by Rhett Reese, and all those guys that have been involved with Deadpool since its beginning. From all the amazing producers and directors from Marvel, from the acting by Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds, and all the other great actors and actresses that provided great roles in this film. All of this was Marvel back to number 1. This was Marvel Avengers Endgame level at how great this film was. Now, for those that are huge Marvel fans that have been huge fans since the beginning, since Iron Man 1, unfortunately, we've had this slum now since Endgame that, has brought us some okay films and then some really crappy films. And Deadpool and Wolverine brought it back up from the dusk, back up to number 1 for me. This movie is absolutely perfection, in my opinion, from the comedy, to the acting, to the action, to the visual effects, to the music. I mean, that beginning sequence of him dancing and killing all those TVA agents to Bye 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 by NSYNC is absolutely phenomenal. You can't tell me that you weren't laughing your butt off as you're watching that, because that is absolutely freaking hilarious. And the fact that, Marvel and Disney kept this film R-rated is so great, because that's what Deadpool is. He is R-rated, and hence why this film was so successful. And it just was so well made. All the great cameos throughout it were absolutely fantastic. And just the whole thought process behind this film was so well done. And I think it literally blows everything out of the water from last year. In my opinion, it's the #1 greatest film of the years. I mean, there were some other great films last year, but this film is just my top T for last year, because it was just so freaking good. I remember walking out of the theater just going, oh my God, Marvel is back. Marvel feels like Marvel again. And that's what that film brought. And it just was so well done. And this film definitely deserves some Oscar or even just some award noms for how phenomenal it was. And it just is such a great film. I mean, it gives you that feeling of films are back again. And that's how I felt about this film. And that's why I feel it's #1 of last year, because it took something that felt so broken and brought it back to that Avengers Endgame level of feeling that, holy crap, is Marvel coming back? Is Marvel becoming what it's supposed to be again? And that's what this movie did for us and how it felt. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that disagree. I'm sure there's a lot of people that agree. But overall, this film is just so well done that it deserves the #1 spot for last year. If you haven't seen Deadpool & Wolverine, check it out on Disney+. Go out and buy the 4K, buy the Blu-ray, buy the DVD. This movie is phenomenal. It should be in your collection. It is so amazing. It is the #1 on my list of 2024. Absolutely fantastic. One of the best films of the year. So definitely there are some honorable mentions that also were great from last year that I think would be a part of a top 10, most definitely. But these films just were so fantastic as well, really enjoyable, and they were just great films, such as The Late Night with the Devil, which was a fantastic film. David Dashman, he was amazing in that film. This was such a great freaking film that absolutely I loved, but I just felt those couple other films just really edged it out just a tad, a tiny bit to make it to my top 5, but this still was such a great honorable mention of a great film from last year, along with Venom: The Last Dance, which I think was a phenomenal, third film as well, and a great trilogy that I think Tom Hardy blew it away. It just was such a well-done film that was super funny and just really well constructed that I absolutely loved. Of course, there was also Maxine, the third film in the X trilogy. That was really fantastic as well. Absolutely loved that film. I thought it did a great job of giving us this great full circle of Maxine's character, and Mia Goth was so amazing in it. She was so much fun, and I just absolutely loved her as a character, and it just was a really well done film too that I think didn't get enough recognition for how good of a film it was, and I just absolutely loved it. Of course, there's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I absolutely loved. I thought that was a really fantastic film as well that I think blew me out of the water. I just absolutely thought it was a great addition to that great franchise that really restarted it and gives it a whole new leg. And Wes Ball did a great job with it. He gave us this really fantastic new interpretation of, Planet of the Apes that can continue and give us this great new concept and fun that just was really well executed, and I just really enjoyed it. So those are some honorable mentions I really enjoyed. There's so many other films last year that were so good too as well that, it's just hard to pinpoint them down because there were so many great ones. You had Alien Romulus, which was really fantastic as well. A great Alien sequel and prequel that just was so well executed as well. And they're just, you can go on and on with all the films that were so good, but at the same time, it's hard because there were so many great films last year, and it took me a really long time to figure out which ones I would say were my top 5. So it's crazy just how many great films came out last year. If you haven't seen any of these films I've mentioned, definitely check them out now. They're all pretty much out on Blu-ray and DVD and 4K and stuff like that. I think some of them have some special VHSs too that they put out for them, and they're just all great films. Absolutely loved them. 2024 was a fantastic year for film, animated wise as well. I mean, Moana 2 was really fantastic. Inside Out 2 was fantastic. I mean, it was just a really phenomenal year for films in general. If you haven't seen anything from 2024, highly recommend check out as many as you can. They are such a great year of film. Absolutely loved last year's film record. It just was so fantastically done. If you haven't seen any of these, like I said, check them out, people. And don't forget, check out stuff for the award season coming up too. It's gonna be really great, and just a great year in all. And can't wait to see what 2025 brings us. So that's it for this movie review, guys. As always,
jerk off with someone naked. Click to jerk off now.
So that's it for this review, guys. As always, thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and also thank you for watching. And if this is your first time here or you haven't been here before, don't forget to check out any older new videos you might see mine yet. As always, people, if you enjoy my content here, please want to show more support for the channel, please check out my awesome Patreon page. We get all kinds of extra accoutrement you don't get here on my YouTube channel, from outtakes, bloopers, suggestions of what I do next, or if there's a film that you want me to review, you can give me that. You can tell me which film to review, and I'll review it for you. So definitely some great options for those that become members on my Patreon, so definitely check that out. And always, huge shout out to my old and new subscribers. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. As always, catch you next one.